Hello, everyone. Welcome to TD Board Gamers. My name is Dave, and today we're going to look at 5 heroes who break the rules. One particular rule, which is the deck customization rules. So, for those of you who are not familiar with uh, customizing decks, I'll quickly go over that. Uh, so, this is the learn to play. So, when you're ready to go beyond the precons, um, building decks is really fun. It's a very fun part of the game, and I highly recommend you try it out. Um, but the rules are as follows. So first of all, each player chooses exactly one identity. So I got Spider-Man here for an example, um, and he's going to start in the alter ego. So let's do this. We'll put Peter right here. The player's deck must consist of a minimum of 40 cards and a maximum of 50 cards. The identity card is not counted as part of the deck. The player deck must include each of the hero's associated cards. So each hero comes with at least 15 cards. Some have a few more, which are like permanents, but the 15 cards are part of the 40 to 50. So those have to be included. Um, and then you choose exactly one aspect. So, for an example here, I got a protection card. So, um, yeah, so you choose one aspect: justice, aggression, protection, or leadership. And pool now is available. The remainder of the deck is customized with cards that belong to that aspect or basic cards. Um, no more than 3 copies by title of each non-unique card may be included. So you can have 3 helicarriers, you can have 3 armored vests in your deck if you wish. Um, but like the helicarrier, for example, is max 1 per player, so you could only have 1 out. Um, and now here's the last line, which will be relevant for what we're going to talk about today. Any deck building requirements on the player's identity card must be followed. And so that is where we violate the first 4 bullets. So I mean, I guess technically it's not a violation, but it's different than the standard deck building rules. So that's the fun part of these 5 heroes. Okay, so it seems to be about 10% of the heroes that we have unique deck building, which is amazing. At the time of this recording, we have 55 heroes. We're a couple weeks out for Agents of Shield, which will give us a 6 hero Maria Hill with unique deck buildings. But what we have right now is Spider Woman was the first one that we got, and we got her in the Rise of the Red Skull. So if we flip it over, uh, the deck building is always on the alter ego because you start on the alter ego. So here it says she's got double agent. Choose 2 aspects instead of 1 during deck building. You must include an equal number of cards from those aspects in your deck. So that allowed to make some fun combos, and you'll see where she falls on my top 5. Um, but yeah, so you could combine any 2 aspects, and you can have a lot of fun with that. The second hero that we got this was Gamora, and she showed up during the Galaxy's Most Wanted wave. She had her own hero pack, but her unique deck building is you may include up to 6 attack or thwart events in decks from aspects other than your chosen aspect. So that's pretty cool. Third hero we got was Adam Warlock. He showed up in Mad Titan Shadow, and his unique deck building is during deck building, your deck must include an equal number of cards from all 4 aspects. You cannot include more than 1 copy of any non-Adam Warlock card. Now, at the time that he came out, it was before the pool aspect comes out. So we're assuming that you can swap out one of the aspects with the pool aspect. But you don't get a benefit for using pool except for that you have more deck building options. You'll see the benefits when I get to his hero side. The fourth hero we got was Cyclops. So Cyclops, he had, you may include X-Men allies from any aspect in your deck. And the last one that we got was Cable. And Cable, you may include player side schemes from any aspect in your deck. So these are the ones that violate the normal rule that you choose one aspect and you can only pick cards from that aspect or basic. All right. So now the question is how do these five heroes rank? So number 5 is Gamora. Now, I'm not saying I don't like Gamora by any means, but you only have 6 cards to play with. So, but if I'm playing Justice, I'll have I might throw in a bunch of attack cards. If I'm playing Aggression, then I probably throw in a bunch of thwart cards. Um, I I do kind of throw in the cut upper from Pool because one thing that is nice is I'm not choosing Pool as my aspect, but I could use a Pool card from it. Um, I don't have to put the Dread Pool. I don't have to put the Dread Pool set into the game because I'm not choosing Pool as one of my aspects. So if I'm doing, say, Justice, I might throw in. I'll probably throw in. Well, throw in one cut upper for sure, and I'd probably throw in 2 uppercuts, maybe like 2 melees, and probably I'm not sure what the maybe like a relentless assault based on the the scenario. So, and if I'm playing aggression, then usually I'll throw in like a crisis averted, a couple of for justice, a couple of multitaskings, and then I probably throw a cut upper in just because I really like that card. Doing 5 damage and stun, that's amazing. So that's my number 5, Gamora. Number 4 is Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock, before Pool came out, I kind of built the same deck where I would take an ally from each of the 4 aspects. So I would have Maria for leadership. I would have Jessica Jones for justice, aggression. Probably nowadays I'd do Sunfire because getting rid of those annoying attachments. For protection, I probably would do like Polaris because she gets a tough. And then I would have the 3 resource generators. Actually, probably 4 resource generators technically. So I'd have martial prowess for aggression, sense of justice for justice, clarity of purpose for leadership, and nerves of steel for protection. So I would definitely have those. I probably would put the buffs in. So I would have combat training for aggression, um, the heroic intuition, and an armored vest. So his stats are now 2-2 or 2-2-3, and for leadership, I'd probably put a second ally in. Not sure who on the top of my head right now. So those will be 3. That's 3 cards right now. For supports, I would have Holy Heroes. I would have the Under Surveillance. I would have. Actually, I probably put Mission Leader in for leadership and protection. I probably have Angel's Airy now, if I'm building it nowadays. And then for upgrades, I would. I already did upgrades. I would be missing. What am I missing? Anyways, so yeah, I'm not going to build a full deck on this video, but I would probably pick 5 cards of each aspect because you got the 15. Um, and then so you got 25 cards to make a 40 card deck. So I would take 5 basics. I would take the 3 double resources, and then I'd probably throw in a helicarrier, and um, the last one would probably be Sorcerer Supreme because he's a mystic. So yeah, I definitely have those. Um, and then yeah, so then I would have an attack card of each one. I would use the magic ones, and then I would have the ones I mentioned. Well, I would have a regular attack of some kind. So I probably would have maybe melee and Fort Justice and Desperate Defense for the leadership. But it would basically be 5 cards of each aspect. I did do it with a pool once where if I pulled out leadership, say for example, I threw in those 3 pool resources because those each one's got its own name. That gives him 3 more super powerful resources, and he's got a lot of resources. So, anyways, that is number 4, Adam Warlock. All right, so number 3 is Cable. So the way I would approach building a cable deck is I usually build the deck normally, and then I will pare it down a little bit to put in some player side schemes. So maybe, so say if I'm doing Cable Justice, instead of putting 3 copies of Fort Justice in, I might only put 2 copies in, and I can swap out cards for um, player side schemes. So some of the player side schemes I like to include is in Justice would be Lay the Trap. In Leadership, I like Call for Backup. And then there's some basic ones that I like. So I like Build Support, Specialized Training, and Superpower Training. So all 3 of those. And there's a bunch of new player side schemes that keep coming out. So I would, if I'm gonna throw in some extra weapons, I'll have that aggression one that lets you get a weapon because Cable does have his gun. Or if I'm playing with multiplayer with people that have weapons, it's kind of nice. If you can get that one early, it's great. If it's later in the game, it's kind of whatever. But the nice thing is, the more player side schemes that are in the victory display, the more powerful Cable gets. So that's pretty cool. So number 3 is Cable. Number 2 is Cyclops. So I like the X-Men, being able to take off aspect X-Men and add them to the deck. But for the most part, I'm building a normal hero deck, although I'm emphasizing more of attachments because of his optic blast. So the allies is almost kind of an afterthought in a way. Uh, Definitely want to do tribal X-Men for the most part, depending on the aspect that I'm playing. Um, Wolverine who's an aggression ally. He's a great one to add. Beast is a great one to add because you can get the resources that you could put a resource card under him. Polaris, I like her for because she comes in tough. Nightcrawler is a nice one where he can jump in, take a hit for somebody. Um, and then depending on the build, I might put in like somebody like Blindfold or Marvel Girl. Um, Dazzler is a nice one to confuse the villain. So there's all sorts of fun X-Men allies that you can add, and it's pretty fun that you're not restricted to the aspect. So that's number 2, Cyclops. And of course, then that means number 1 is Spider Woman, Jessica Drew. Now she's the first one that we got of it, but the thing that's amazing with her is, well, first of all, her hero kit, two she's got 2 copies of an aspect for all 4 aspects. So she's got built into her kit 2 aggression cards, 2 justice cards, 2 leadership cards, and 2 protection cards. So that is pretty cool. And they are the color that matches the aspect. And so, like, the power ofs will help pay for those cards because they're that aspect. She's got some resource generators that allow her to to generate a resource for paying for an aspect card. But you can do some fun combos. Now you have to have an equal number of cards from each aspect. So that's a game you have to kind of play. So when I build a Spider Woman deck, I don't put a lot of basics in because, obviously that you want to have more aspects. But I'll throw in like the three double resources and then usually like a helicarrier and maybe endurance. It just kind of depends. That's five. So then you still got 20 cards. So you could have 10 and 10. Now I have done something pool before. I haven't done a lot of that with her, but you can come up with some interesting combinations. But it's kind of fun where you can you can do leadership and justice. You could have three command teams, and you can have three field agents, and you can basically ready your characters multiple times. They don't take you can set up so they don't take consequential damage. On that, I might put in a few more basic allies like Agent 13, Nick Fury, um, just so that I have some more shields to fuel, because you have justice shields and then you got some leadership shields, and then that's it. We really don't have any shield allies in aggression or protection. Well, we got a couple. I guess Black Widow in protection, but I don't think we have any aggression shields, or at least I can't think of any. But it's just kind of nice that this was the first time that you could play around with aspects, because the aspects have their own unique spiel for the game. Like aggression is taking out the minions, and justice is thwarting. And with the larger carpool, you can deviate from that a little bit. But this came out with the first expansion box, so the game hadn't even been out for a year yet, as far as products go, and so it was really fun to kind of break from the norm. And I still enjoy Spider Woman, um, and the decks, the deck playing around a little bit. So that's my number one, Spider Woman. So we got Maria Hill coming up, and I could easily see her becoming my number one. She's similar to, I'd say Gamora is probably the closest, because she can't have, she's got a limited number of off aspect stuff that she can do. You may include the maximum number of copies of three shield supports in your deck from aspects other than your chosen aspect. So the most off aspect number of cards that you could include in your deck would be 9 if you included three of the shield supports that you can have three copies of, like command team and surveillance team, tac team, those kind of cards. If you include those kind of cards, then you could have up to 9. And like Gamora can only have 6. So you would think that that would be a little restricting. However, her big thing is she gets to move all purpose counters around. So she's once per round she can do one. She's also got some cards that add all purpose counters, and you could put a shield support out that has 2 or 3 counters, never even use the card for what it does. It's just a battery for um, it's just a battery for counters for other cards. In a way, it's kind of like Rocket Raccoon's battery packs in a way. So, like, surveillance team. Maybe you never use the surveillance team for um, removing one threat, but you are pulling charges off it to put on other cards. So, like, she has this card, the Iliad, which you spin a counter, you can do 5 damage, 4 threat, or you heal 3 damage. So that is very versatile. So you want to, and this has the uses power. So once you use the last mission counter, of course, it goes away. So it costs 6. It's pretty expensive. So if you can keep it out all game by adding more counters and stuff, that's amazing. So you could have some batteries that fuel it. That's awesome. Um, and there's all sorts of fun shield combos that you can come up with and adds to the deck. Plus, the other thing that's nice with Maria when she's hero is each ally you control gains the shield trait. So everybody's a shield. And so that's really nice for like the government liaison card, which is also it's a basic shield support that works like team building, but only for shield, which is great. There's lots of fun shield allies that you can pull out. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to Maria Hill. And when she comes out, Nick Fury comes out with her. So we're still roughly at the 10% because this would be the sixth hero. And at that point, we would have 57 heroes. And we know the next two heroes, Black Panther Shuri and Silk, and neither of them have any unique deck building. So that would get us up to 59 heroes, with 6 heroes having the unique deck building. And then the other 2 heroes we don't know. Uh, Very rare. Well, they have. I should say not very rarely. They have yet to date have more than one hero in a wave with special deck building. So I feel it's probably safe to assume that the last 2 heroes don't have unique deck building, but you don't know. If that's the case, then once those 2 come out, then we're at 61 at that point. And then who knows with the wave after that, of course. But yeah, so that is the my top 5 heroes. Well, the only 5 heroes, I guess, that violate the standard deck building rule. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell.